G'day folks, how you going? If you've been wanting to buy an awning for your car and you've been looking at the difference between expensive ones and cheap ones and not really sure which way to go, stay tuned because we're going to see if we can find out what's the best. Bloody amazing! Alright, so it's been a while since I've put a video out, and that's because I've been busy doing a lot of tourist work. There's been heaps of tourists coming to Western Australia and checking out our amazing place and what we have to offer. I have also been busy planning our next adventure. Our next adventure is going to be going up through the middle of Western Australia, but I'm going to talk about that in a little while after we finish looking at what we're doing today. Awnings is what we're on about today. This next trip I'm going to be doing is without a caravan. It's going to have a rooftop tent up the top here, and I've put a couple of awnings on the back of my car. But my daughter, who's also coming with me on this next trip, she's put an awning on her car, and we're going to have a look at that and compare the two, because this is a Ridge Ryder, which I got from Superchip. I've got two of them, the premium ones, one on the side, one on the rear. My daughter has one on the side of her car that has, it was the cheaper one, the basic model one. And we're going to have a look and see, is it really worth spending an extra $100 to get the expensive awning over the top of the cheaper one? Now, I installed both of these awnings, and I'm not going to do an unboxing because basically they come in a box and they're not in a box, and this is what you get. But one big difference I found when I was putting the one on the rear was there was two extra brackets that came with it. Considering the rear one was a little bit cheaper, it's a little bit smaller than the side awning, it seems strange that that came with the two extra brackets where the premium 2 metre wide one didn't come with the brackets, and neither did the cheapy one, but you kind of expect that for a cheapy one. To complete the install, I purchased a set of tamper-proof bolts from Supercheap. So let's have a look at what we've got. Now, when I got this out of the box, the first thing I noticed with the cheapy one, if you look at the zip, you can see the zip, and I mean it looks like a good quality one, and it seems to be quite sealed. Where if you have a look at the zip on the premium one, it's kind of like it's got a plastic layer over the top of it, which would be really good, I think, for keeping the dust out. I'm not saying this won't keep the dust out. We're going to find out when we go away, but certainly there's a different quality in the zip for sure. The cover, this has got a standard grey cover. It's quite a strong feeling cover. It feels very much the same as the other one. The only real difference is it's grey and it doesn't say Ridge Ryder, which apart from everything else it looks exactly like a Ridge Ryder, so I think it's made in the same factory, it just doesn't have their name on it. Let's open it up and see what it looks like on the inside. I haven't opened it up yet, so we'll find out. So that only took a couple of minutes to put up, and they're all basically the same. A couple of things I've noticed, pretty importantly, up in the corner here, The difference between, like if you buy a King's awning or buy this cheap one from Super Cheap, I reckon they're the same awning. Big problem with the King's awning is up here the pole only goes through one piece of aluminium, and everyone's complaining about that because the aluminium will break. Where with the premium one it goes through two pieces of aluminium. I'll show you the difference. So I reckon this is pretty much the same as the King's awning, although I think this is a little bit cheaper than the King's awning by a couple of bucks. So at least this one you don't have to get mailed out to you. So yeah, apart from that, it's all pretty much the same. So let's have a look at the premium awning now. That's it, a couple of minutes. Big difference is the point is about that long, and the poles, the way these poles, side poles here, attach up there, appear to be a little bit more stronger sitting in there rather than on that one. On here, the bracket it sits in didn't bend, where up there was a bit of flex in the aluminium. So I'm thinking maybe this is a little bit stronger construction. On the premium awning, on the bottom there's a spike, which is pretty handy for this soft ground. You can push it down into the ground and that will stop it from having the base being kicked out. On rocky ground, I'm not sure how the spike would work, because I think that might make it actually move around too much. Where on the premium, on the standard one, there's no spike. So on rocky ground, that will probably sit a little bit more firmer. If you're in soft ground, you can always just dig a hole out with your finger to make a bit of a hole for it to sit in. So that's something to consider. So this one here, this is supposed to be 170 GSM. I think that's what they call it. The thickness of the material, as opposed to that one there, which is 280, I think. So that one's thicker. As opposed to keeping the rain off if it rained. Don't know, we'll have to suck that one when it rains and see what happens. I think if you had this up and you had your swag under here to stop the moisture overnight, I think this would be fine. It'll do the job, not a problem at all. In a heavy downpour, I don't know. It is ripstop material, so like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously the heavier one is going to work better. The awning off the back of mine is also a premium awning made out of the exact same materials. It goes up in exactly the same way. Yeah, so what do I think? Is it worth an extra $100? Do you know, I'm one of them people that think that quality comes from price. So if I had the money, I would go with the premium, which is the reason why I did. If money's a little bit on the cheap side, or a bit short, then I would do the cheap one. I think for the majority of what you're looking for, you just want to put it out so you can have a lunch in the sun and put some shade up, it's going to do that, not a problem at all. So I think it really comes down to your finance on what you're prepared to spend. I certainly wouldn't be spending more than $220 on an awning. I think anything more than that, it's you're just blowing your money. I mean, I got it cheap. I got it on special at Super Cheap. They do specials quite often on them, so that's the time to buy one. All right, we'll put this away and then I'm going to tell you about our next adventure. Alright, so there you go. What was the result? Really it comes down to how much you're prepared to pay. They're both good awnings. Just got their own little bits and pieces with them. So our trip north in August, where are we going? Well, when most people leave Perth to head north, they either go up the coast through Geraldton, Carnarvon, they go up the Great Northern Highway up towards Port Edlin. Well, we're going right up the middle. We're going to be doing about 1,000 kilometres of dirt. We're heading up to Mount Augustus, and we're going to look into the stories and the history of when the pastoralists moved through that area, the mining that went on through that area. We've got hopefully 5 cars coming with us, so I think it's going to be a pretty exciting trip. So if you don't want to miss that out, hit the subscribe button down the bottom and put the bell next to it, because that will let you know, that will send you an email when I have uploaded a video. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up as well. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram as well, where we will leave information of how we're going through the course of the trip. Anyway, till next time, happy travels. So when you're on soft dirt like this is actually, will push down into the dirt and hold it still so it can't be kicked out from underneath. If we go over to the cheap one, there's no point. There's no point. There's no point to this. Alright, it's been a while since I've done a video, so I've been busy. We've had lots of tourists around, and been busy doing them and taking them and showing them. Alrighty, so haven't been around for a little while, and that's because I've been tied up. Don't like that. Most people, when they head out of Western Australia, they either go up the Great Northern Highway, which is not on the coast, that's the Great Northern Highway. So anyway, if you like what I did today, then hit the thumbs up. If you want to subscribe down the bottom, that way you don't miss out when I put a video up. Hit the bell next to it, and that'll send you a message, let you know when something goes up. And we'll see you in the next millennium.